Hi, my name is Randy Waters, and with me today is Sam Shakib, and we're going to talk about the situations that have developed in Sam's family as regards the Jehovah's Witnesses and how it's affected him. And we'll be pleased to speak with you today, Sam. And I'd like to ask you, first of all, what's your religious background? Were you ever Jehovah's Witness?
No, I never been a Jehovah's Witness. I met a Jehovah's Witness girl in 1985, and we worked together, and finally we got married. We loved each other to death, and somehow this Jehovah's Witness business got in the way and caused a lot of problems.
Did you have a particular religious background yourself? It seems like I remember you've been through a lot of different things.
Well, by birth I'm Jewish, but I don't practice any religion. I believe in God strongly.
Didn't you say you were raised under the influence of the Quran as well? A little bit.
Well, I have studied different religion. By nature, I'm a curious person.
Right. You're not anti-religious?
No, I'm not anti-religious. Well, you could say I'm anti-religion. But overall, I believe in God. I think any religion on earth is not true. It doesn't translate the true nature of God. But my experience with Jehovah's Witnesses, it was totally outrageous. At points, I felt I was dealing with Satan himself, even though I don't believe in physical sense of Satan.
Let me ask you this. If your wife or any of your children decided to become Baptist or Catholic, how would you feel about that in comparison to, let's say, the children?
My main objective toward Jehovah's Witnesses was they would hold a person away from education, and they would keep the person away from learning, interacting with other people. And that was a big deal to me. And I think it's even more important than a blood issue. What the witnesses do with the children to keep them away from school and put them to go door to door instead of going to school, I think that's a way bigger issue than a blood issue may has killed 1,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 people. But mutilation of mind, my God, they have destroyed millions of people.
Millions, right. There's currently almost 6 million people in that organization. So to you, it's the control over the mind, the control over the soul of the individual, the fact that they really don't promote higher education. They want them to go out and push books and magazines door to door.
Yes, actually how it started in my family, me and my wife were working very hard in our business, and I was working 6 days a week.
So she wasn't raised a witness?
She was.
She was.
She's a third generation Jehovah's Witness. Third generation. And she's proud.
Proud of that?
Yeah, she's a proud third generation of Jehovah's Witness.
But she wasn't doing too much with it at the time you were involved in your business originally?
Well, when we met each other, she was falling out. I had a working shop here. I moved it to the border, so I went there more often. I was down there like 3 days a week, back here 4 days a week, and that brought the witnesses closer to her. She started taking the children in the church or Kingdom Hall, and that was a big objection by me because I didn't want them to sacrifice their school, their learning. And when I said don't take the children to school, she had to choose between her God or her husband. And eventually she said she doesn't want to, as she put it, she didn't want to change her God with anybody. So she went, and the first divorce we went through was 1989. She brought charges against me that I want to kill her so she could win the custody battle. And we went through divorce. She carried the divorce all the way to the end, and but I know she loved me very much. And as I got involved with another woman, she came back and she went to Palm Springs, tried to kill herself. And she begged me to go back with her. We got back together. And then
was she taking the kids to all meetings at this point when we got back together?
They
had 3 meetings a week for those.
The reason she broke up the family was to take the kids to the kingdom. I was standing firm on that issue, and I was saying no to that. And
You have two little girls, and now you have a son, don't you?
Right.
So you were primarily concerned with your girls at this point.
We have two girls, and son is a divorce special also.
Well, that shows that you're still together and you both love each other.
Oh yes, I think we love each other to death, and she has told me that.
From what I've seen and heard, your wife, she's a wonderful person, but like a lot of people in the Watchtower, they almost have two identities. They have the real person, and then you have this what some people call the cult identity, where they just go off into another personality, and they're driven by this force, this group in New York, the Watchtower Bible Tract Society.
Well, I think I'm one of a fortunate victim of Watchtower. Eventually, after we went to the second divorce in 1997, and during her deprogramming.
You hired a deprogrammer?
Well, at first she brought allegation against me that I'm an abusive man. While I was on the phone, she started attacking me, and she goes into rages, and she started attacking me, and one to the other, I hit her back, and she went to in a room we were sitting. There were file cabinets. She went into the file cabinet. I had a lot of notes that I had purchased during the earthquake. She went and threw those out, and she cut her hand, and she rubbed the blood in her face. And where we were downstairs in the room. We have a big house. She started yelling, "Girls, call 911." My daughters called 911, and police got involved, and she rubbed the blood in her face and posed for the police that I did that, and they handcuffed me. They took me to the police station. Police asked me, "Did you hit her?" I said yes, but I didn't do what she posed to the police, and she hit me also.
How many years ago was that?
This is 1997, and I know she did all of this. Take the custody of the kids.
She was concerned about their welfare with the Watchtower, and felt you were trying to pull them away, and you were being abusive, supposedly.
Exactly. I know with my heart, even though I don't know whether she admitted or not at this point, that she did all of this to save the children. And we got to a point that the children were so afraid of me. Anytime I got near them, they ran away. My older daughter was worse than the younger one.
I remember being over at your house a couple of times, and the kids seemed to be, being kept from a normal relationship with you or something. I don't quite understand what that was.
Well, it took me 12 years to figure out what has happened in that family. Originally, when we were married, I come in the room, the phone conversation stopped. I come in the room, people walk out of the room.
And was this a result of you trying to get her out of the witnesses primarily, or what was the main reason behind the shunning of you being their dad? Were you attacking the Watchtower at that point?
As a nature, I'm a very curious person, as you know. Originally, when I met my wife, she seemed to me very bright, open, honest, and they were pushing to get me inside of the destructive cult. And as I learned about it, the more I learned about it, the more obscene it became. And it came to a point that I could say, how could anybody seriously think about this material? It became like a joke to me.
So were you hitting or yelling at your kids or anything? What was the reason for shunning you then? Or was it because...
When we got married, the agreement between me and my wife was, she has a child from previous marriage, and I never been married, and I had no other kid. I said, well, you keep your child, whatever religion you want, and my offspring gonna remain with Judaism. And that was understood by her, and that was one of the conditions we got married. And
so you wanted to raise the girls Jewish?
Yes.
Right.
Even though maybe I go to synagogue once a year, we observe Passover with the family, but
Sounds like a much better choice than Jehovah's Witnesses to me.
but not a. I'm not religious, as anybody puts it. As I said, I believe in God, and that's it. And I wish to raise my children the same way.
You want them to have a nice environment, a culture of extended family to be with.
Right.
And so
Right. But as they came to the door and asked me, why don't you let your girls go to the kingdom? I said, no, thank you. Leave them alone. I don't want them to go to door. I don't want that. I want them to be open, be able to communicate, be able to read anything they want. I want them to have the choice of deciding where they want to go, who they want to be with. And it appeared to me all that those are obscene. And I didn't want my children to be part of it. And I was objecting to it, and I stood my ground. Knowing Rebecca as a Jehovah Witness had to respect my
headship, as they call it.
Right. And she was in a tough situation in that aspect. So I think in 1987 or 89 in Watchtower, there was a resolution that if you were stuck in such a situation, you should divorce your husband. That article came out. And when that article
I think they call it spiritual endangerment, where if your family is in danger of not being able to go to meetings and being raised up as Jehovah's Witnesses, they call it spiritual endangerment. And the person who is the witness has the right by them to divorce, or at least leave the house.
When this, you promised me you'd get me that article, but you never did.
Oh, okay. We'll take care of it. So the main opposition that you were facing from the family at this point is because you did not want them going to meetings. You recognized that Jehovah's Witnesses was a cult, and you did not just let them go ahead and your wife go ahead and take them and get them all involved. Right. So that's the main source of the opposition. It wasn't because you were mistreating the kids, right?
Right. And it came to a point that my wife, she started taking the kids to the Kingdom Hall without me knowing. And I found out about it. I went to one session. I went to the Kingdom Hall and dragged him out. I think that itself pushed the marriage to the first divorce. Mm-hmm. And then she, after a year and a half, she went to kill herself in Palm Springs and called my parents, called my father, called my sister, asking that she wants to get back with me. At the time, I was in a relation with a girl that I cared about, but I had to choose between my daughter and my wife or this new relation, so I went back.
Is your wife on good terms with your family? Does she get along with them?
Yes, now yes. But before the deprogramming, or what Steve Hassan called it?
Exit counseling?
No, not exit counseling. Calls it something else.
I mean, referring to deprogramming?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, deprogramming is technically illegal in most cases, and Steve doesn't agree with that. Steve Hassan is a good friend of mine. He's an exit counselor. But
he called intervention.
Intervention, okay.
Yeah, after the first time I brought Rick Ross out here from Arizona. Rick Ross, his intervention wasn't successful. Rebecca called me up and started accusing me. I brought demon to talk to her. Started yelling at me over the phone. Why have I done that? And I did that all under, there was a court order out saying I cannot talk to Rebecca or get near her. It was a tremendous time. I look at my daughters, they're running away from me.
You're doing everything in your power to try to hold the family together, and it just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, and there was the court order. I went at one time, I tried to give Steve Hassan book to my daughter to read. That
Combat and Cold War.
Right.
And how old was she? Your oldest daughter?
12 years, 13 years old. So the judge ordered an order not to force your will among children. Mm-hmm. I was trying to show my daughter Sally, Raphael Shaw, and Carlton, and it wasn't even on Jehovah's Witnesses.
Right, even in Steve's book, he doesn't discuss Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, so the judge and the prosecutor telling me I cannot tell my child what to learn. It was amazing. It was amazing, the ordeal I went through.
Have you found more peace in your family since then? Has the influence of the Watchtower been more or less in the last year?
Much better.
Much better.
Much better.
What do you attribute that to? Better communication or mellowing out on the part of both of you? Or?
Well, she doesn't go to Watchtower anymore. So there's more time to spend with the family, and she's more open. She never spoke to me about any issue. It was a complete silence. Now beginning to open up and beginning to talk more and more. My daughters never talked to me about anything. Every time I want to speak to my daughter, they ran away. So I remember I talked to them while they were sitting in a car, so they can't run away. So when I spoke to them in the car,
any chance you got.
the only chance I had, they turned the radio off.
Turn the radio up so they couldn't hear you.
Exactly, and it was a tremendous experience.
How did that feel as a dad to have your own girls treat you that way? Was it painful?
Oh my. My interaction with my daughter started, I go near them, they run away. So I made a game out of it.
So you were the boogeyman.
Yeah, I made a game out of them. So I start chasing them in the house. In fact, I broke my foot once. Chasing them. So my interaction with the girls was...
You added a little humor to it, basically.
And what was I going to do? You know? And I couldn't figure why this family is like that. I couldn't figure it. Till 1997, when all of it happened, I called UCLA. I talked to the head of the department, and he introduced me to somebody specialized in cult. And he told me what cult was.
Definition of a cult.
Right, and he told me what hypnosis was. He told me what is post-hypnotic suggestion and how it acts, and that wised me up. Then I read Steve Hassan's book. I got a hold of that book, Consciousness, Crisis
of Consciousness.
Right.
By Raymond Friends, former governing body member.
Right. With the love that was in heart of my wife toward me, that enabled me to have her read that book, and after that...
Repeat that last part again. You said what? The love for your wife. Say that again because I made a comment.
The love she had for me and the love I had for her. She agreed to read that book, Crisis of Consciousness. And after she read that, I gave her to read Steve Hassan's book, Mind Control. Well, after she read Steve Hassan's book, I entered the house. Of course, there was an order for me by court not to go near the house. Meanwhile, you know, she's calling me. She, on one hand, she loves me. On one hand, she wants to be with me. The other hand, will talk to her. She picked up Steve Hassan's book and she threw it at me and said, "You think I'm that?" I said, No, I don't think you're that. This is what this guy said. Steve Hassan says, it's got nothing to do with you.
Right.
Then she started screaming. My last word to her before I ran out of the house was, "You know what, honey? Pick up the book. Go to the last pages." He wrote, "Jehovah Witnesses are one of the instructed cult," and I left. And after that, I tried to get Steve Hassan out here. He didn't want to come, so I called Rick Ross. I got Rick Ross out here. Rick Ross came out here, and that exit counseling or intervention ended up nowhere. After a day, Rebecca ran away. I was living in an apartment in Sherman Oaks. She called me out and said, "I don't believe what you have done. You all the words you can imagine. You brought the Satan to me. You have brought me demons." And I think...
All because he was challenging her faith and you were attempting to get her...
No, I think what happened when she started the exit counseling, she called up somebody over her cellular phone and told Rick Ross' name. I think result of a search by whoever she talked to came out that Rick Ross is demon. So what happened? 5 o'clock in the morning, next day she called me. "I'm not going to talk to these people no more." She starts swearing at me. I kept Rick Ross at, I think it was that hotel in Ventura Boulevard. What is the name? I kept Rick Ross around for a few days, but she never wanted to talk to Rick Ross.
After the first day, though. So.
Right. So Rick Ross went back to Arizona. Then I got Steve Hassan to come out.
So you tried again, another intervention on your wife.
Right. So Steve Hassan came out.
This was when, 1998, 99, 98?
Or 97. So Steve Hassan came out. Steve intervention worked. He's been a tremendous aid to my family. He left a lot of things that I didn't like, but overall, I think he did a very good job.
He didn't just take your side, he tried to work it out between both of you in counseling. And you have been to counseling other than that?
No. We went to counselors prior to prior to exit counseling. And every time we went to a counselor, as soon as we got near any issue that he talked about Jehovah's Witness, she ran away. The counseling was stopped. And when we went to counseling, she started telling the counselors about abusive husband, beat her up, or I kicked her son out of the house.
Let me ask you something, Sam. This whole thing has made you pretty conscious of cults, what they're all about, and especially the Jehovah's Witnesses. What have you made other attempts beyond your family to try and protect others from this organization, or to do something about the hold that they have over families? I noticed you got something in your hand there. What's that all about?
What is happening in this country and across the world, it's outrageous how cults can move in, use hypnosis, post-hypnotic suggestions, brainwash people, enter a family and break up a family. And we have no law to protect people. Lawmakers don't want to have anything to do with it. It's a very sensitive issue. Nobody does anything about it. I try to do whatever I can to maybe bring some aid to people like me. What I did, I initiated a lawsuit. I started a lawsuit by a gentleman named Sandlin, J.J. Sandlin. Drew up this complaint, but it was never filed. And I think it is a good lawsuit.
This was a class action lawsuit?
No, it's not a class action.
Oh, okay. This is a personal lawsuit.
I was trying to sue the Watchtower Society to negatively affect my children psychologically, harming my children psychologically. My wife doesn't want that, and I still can't understand why. What this cult has done to her and her family is beyond belief.
You hope that someday she will see the danger of it.
I hope. I'm still hopeful of that. I have written this lawsuit, and she's an abused person. If you look at the psychological mind of an abused woman and a psychological mind of a person who's abused by a cult, it's very similar. And I will have a very hard time in this lawsuit when she stands and take the side of Watchtower Society.
That would break your heart, I'm sure.
Yes, it does.
We don't want to cause any more problems in the family, but you definitely believe that something should be done about the Watchtower's influence on families.
Absolutely. I spend a lot of money on putting information together and attorney fees to put this lawsuit together. And I ask you to put it over the net for everybody else to see it. And maybe somebody out there has his wife on his side and carry this lawsuit through.
That will help a lot of people.
Yeah, and look me up. If somebody picked this on and want to push it further, call me up. I don't give you my home phone number because my wife won't like it, but my portable number is 818-262-7575. You can call me. Maybe someday my kids and my wife come to a frame of mind to support me in this lawsuit. At that point, it will go forward.
That would be great. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Sam.
Pleasure seeing you, and thank you for the opportunity to put this on the net. And during this ordeal I went through, I want to let you know that how you helped me was just tremendous.
Great. If you could say one thing to anyone out there in your situation, as one of the parents of a two-parent household where the other one is a witness and there's a problem, what would you say to someone like you? You can take your time to call that.
God help you.
God help you.
God help you.
Okay, Sam. Thank you very much.